Good afternoon, everyone. This is Miss Louisa, and for today's story time, I'm going to be reading two books. The first one is Norton and Alpha by Christina Litton, and the second one is The Snurch by Sean Farrell. Here we go. Norton and Alpha. By Christina Litton. Norton was a collector. Battered wheels, rusty cogs, broken springs. They all found their way into Norton's collection. But best of all were the things Norton didn't have a name for. Norton found interesting things almost everywhere he looked. They were rarely beautiful, but they were usually useful. And from what he found, big or small, Norton made the most amazing inventions. One day, Norton found something interesting he couldn't name. He attached it to his latest project and then stood back. It was perfect! Norton decided to call the project Alpha. Now, Norton had a companion to help him with his collecting. Alpha would follow his little robot nose down unknown paths. He dug holes, scurried into small, unreachable places, delved into unexplored spaces, and found all sorts of wonderful things. One Tuesday morning, Alpha's nose felt slightly odd. It tickled and tingled and led him to something very unusual. Norton was baffled. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before. What was it? Woof! Norton and Alpha were determined to find out. So with a bit of effort, they plucked it from the ground and set off on their way home. Norton held on to his new treasure tightly. He didn't take his eyes off for a moment, except to climb the ladder up to his house. Do you see what's fallen down from it? Norton went straight to his workshop. He did all his usual experiments. He oiled it. He tried plugging it in. He even x-rayed it. But the results just confused Norton even more. His new discovery didn't seem useful at all. It also didn't look nearly as interesting as it had when they first found it. So Norton threw it out the window. For the rest of the day, Norton and Alpha cleaned up the mess left over from their experiments. They found a little round something their mysterious discovery had left behind. Norton decided to keep it. Maybe one day he would find a use for it. On Wednesday, the weather was much too wet to go out collecting. But Alpha still needed his exercise. On Thursday, it was extremely hot. Norton and Alpha spent most of the day trying to keep cool. But Friday was a perfect day for treasure hunting. The weather was glorious, so Norton made sure they had a hearty breakfast. Then he oiled the joints and got everything ready for a long day's collecting. They ran to the doors and flung them open. And what they saw was beautiful. Norton and Alpha bounced and jumped in the colorful field. They collected lots of the blue, pink, and orange things and carried them home. Norton stopped trying to figure out what they were for all that really mattered. is that they made him smile. The end. Alright, now, book number 2, The Snurch by Sean Farrell. Ruthie has a problem at school. It's not the students, it's not the classroom, it's not the reading or the writing or the math. It is the snurch. Teacher said, "Ruthie, please take your seat." There is her seat, and there is the snurch. The snurch is a lot of things. Nice is not one of them. The snurch is scribbly and scrunchy. The snurch is grabby and burpy and rude. And the snurch is always with Ruthie. When teacher calls Ruthie, the snurch throws her pencils and Ruthie forgets the question. During recess, the snurch makes rude noises and no one wants Ruthie to play. And when everyone draws in art class, the snurch becomes truly terrible. It hides, it waits, and when teacher asks if anyone wants to share their work, it leaps, it grabs, it crumples, it makes sure no one will like George's drawing. Teacher said, "Ruthie, that is not okay." "It wasn't me," said Ruthie, "it was the snurch." No one has a life as difficult as Ruthie. 10 whole minutes later, Ruthie tries to draw something pretty, or cute, or happy, but all that comes out of her crayon is unhappy scribbles. The snurch is no help. Ruthie looked really hard at the snurch. Ruthie draws. Art class ends. Teacher asks if anyone would like to share. No one is more surprised than Ruthie when she stands up. No one except the snurch. "I will," said Ruthie. She shows the class her drawing. Her classmates look. "It's what throws our pencils," says one. "It's what makes weird noises," said another. "It's what drew on my drawing," said George. Ruthie knows the snurch wants to run away and hide. "I'm sorry about that," said Ruthie. "That's okay," said George, "and I like your drawing." And then another kid says the same, and another, until everyone agrees. Ruthie has drawn a wonderful snurch. Ruthie likes school. She likes the students. She likes the classroom. She likes the reading, the writing, and the math. And Ruthie still has a snurch. The snurch is still scribbly and scrunchy. The snurch is still burpy and grabby and rude. But the snurch also listens, sometimes, and sometimes the snurch is even sorry. And as hard as it can be to sit next to a snurch, Ruthie realizes she's not alone. George has one too. "I like your drawing, says Ruth. "Thanks," says George. That end. So, my challenge for you today. If you had a snurch, what would it look like? Can you think really hard and watch your snurch and draw a picture of it? That would be really fun, don't you think? Anyways, I'll see you next time.